Hey guys, welcome to She Said What podcast, where we master life by doing away with limiting beliefs one podcast at a time. Per usual, I have a special guest, guys. I have been following this lady for a while now. She has been my pick-me-up, my motivation when I'm just down, and she's just like all around just an icon, okay? So please give a virtual welcome to Terri Thomas.
I'm excited to be here. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you on our show today. You guys, when I first saw her scrolling on my Instagram, I saw this big, beautiful white hair. I was like, who is this woman? Because first of all, I'm feeling the fashion. And then her words were just so captivating. And it really, I feel like she was having a one-on-one with me, and she just makes you feel so much at home.
Thank
and
you.
Just so comfortable. And we need more people like that because there are a lot of inspirational people in the world, a lot of gurus on, social media, but they don't make you feel like, you can do it. It's a different type of inspiration. And I feel like yours is very authentic, it's real, and it's not, you don't put you down, like you're not doing enough.
For me, I'm a glass half full person.
Yeah.
So I always see the potential of people.
Oh.
Where somebody's magic is. I just have a unique ability to be able to lock into that. So I think that really informs my perspective. I like to be honest because I think that, there's a lot of sugarcoating out there. So I like to be honest because you can only give what you can give in 90 seconds. You got to really, get to the point. People don't have a lot of attention span.
Yeah.
But be honest, be authentic. But I try to come from a place of, how do we figure out how to tap into what the magic is in you, and also, offering up what some best practices are for people in order to get unstuck from where they might be jammed up.
Exactly. So can you tell us a little, I know you do, but for those who, I'll share, for those who don't know what Terri does, can you tell a little bit about what you do?
Well, I've actually been in radio and media my whole life since I was 14. And in November, closed that chapter. So looking forward to the next chapter. I'm about to launch a brand called Renegades, Rebels, and Rogues. Excited about that because I'm excited about, I think, the mission, which is to have maximum impact for people, brands, and culture. And so however that's going to be wrapped, I'm just asking God to give me the direction so that I can, walk it out, and I know he'll work it out. But that's really what the goal is. And to do it, because we have to speak positive financially as well, but to do it in a way where I can really, show up for my family.
Yeah,
and our
financial
future.
freedom.
Financial freedom is everything, and that's the one thing that I wish I knew more about as a child, really, or as a kid, or as a young person really starting a career, because you look now and they're like, oh, if you save this amount of much, and all the things, and you're like, wow, didn't really tap into that. So, but it's okay, just finding your purpose and knowing the profit will come.
Exactly. So can you repeat your brand and what your mission is again? Because that was bars. Okay.
Thank you. Well, I gotta, definitely love to the Hubs because he coined the lyrics. I was trying to tell him that, look, I need an umbrella that can capture the attitude, the swagger of the information and what we're trying to create for people, whether it's a podcast, whether it's consulting, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And I said, but I needed to embody a particular spirit, like my spirit, or the spirit that I've always approached life in, going the road less traveled, or not being afraid to kind of take an oddball approach that may not be popular, but to be able to be committed to the vision that you have. And so he's like, yeah, like a renegade, a rebel, a rogue. And I said, stop. We were in the car and I was like, stop. He's like, what's wrong? And I was like, no, I didn't mean stop.
Wait.
And yeah, seriously. He's like, woman, if you just don't relax when I'm driving, but he drives crazy. So if you ever rode with him, you'd understand. But anyway, so I said, that's it.
Yeah.
I said, renegades, rebels, and rogues. I said, that's really what I want to do. I want to be able to hone in on the unique thing about people and work with people brands and impact the culture in such a way where it's honing in on the thing that's really special, because most people try to surgically remove their magic, because we live in a society that's a lot of sameness. It's how can you be like, how can you look like, how can you act like? And it's a particular thought process that a lot of people have. But when you sit back and you study the greats, the people that really are iconic, they became iconic because there was something unique, and they were brave enough to take and commit to that and follow that wherever it led, even if it wasn't popular.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of being brave to do what's unpopular, because we're human and we want approval all of the time. And to go the road less traveled, well, you're not always going to get that. For my career choice, for example, I'm blessed to be very smart. All the right things in school, National Merit Scholar, all the good stuff.
Period.
Parents were excited. Like, finally, we're going to have a kid, first person in our family to graduate from college and all the good stuff, and brilliant girl. And I chose radio, which didn't pay very well at that time at all. I mean, my first salary was $11,800 full time.
No.
Yes. I worked 2 jobs for the first 7 years of my professional career just to barely be able to make it. And so my parents were confused. Like why
not go to college and then
you got student loans, you went to college. Now I'm grateful because I had scholarship money at Offset, but I still had a student loan to finish out the last year. And and you're on this path where I had to leave Boston. I'm Boston bred, Houston fed, but you go where the opportunities are. And so for me, I knew I needed to go to grow. And so I was bold, and I said, I'll go wherever the opportunity is. And it took me to Columbus, Georgia. You're like, well, where's Columbus, Georgia? You say Columbus, a lot of people think Ohio. I was like, no, there's a Columbus, Georgia, 90 miles south of Atlanta. And so that's where I spent the first 7 years of my career. And I was blessed to work for an incredible mom and pop company, Davis Broadcasting. And that was a wonderful experience. But my parents were confused. They're like, how are you so brilliant, but yet and still in a career that pays so little, where you're really struggling all the time? And with parents that struggled, they're betting on you. And so they're like, got a brilliant kid, brilliant college education, all the things, and goes into a career that doesn't pay, and she is barely making it. And it was hard for them to conceptualize that. But I was committed to where I thought God was taking me. And it was some real, I remember sleeping in my car, I couldn't afford to play, all the things. And even through that, I just stuck to it. And it wasn't popular. And you have to be willing to stand up for yourself and what you believe, even if it's not popular, and push through. And then, you get momentum and it leads you to a place. My mom, when I got the job in Houston 19 years ago, my mother, and I love my mother, I know she loved me deeply, but I got the blessing. And she was like, okay, you finally got it. I get it now, and I'm really proud of you. But it was a long time to get there, and a lot of questioning. And you love your parents. You don't want to disappoint them. You don't want to let them down. They're counting on you to change the trajectory of the family. And when you say, no, I'm really going to do this, they're like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's a pattern that I've noticed with entrepreneurs and just different people's stories. They always say they went the road less traveled, but I noticed that you guys always choose happiness over societal, prosperity, or what success looks societally, because our parents want us, to do great things and don't want us to struggle, but it's a lot of doctors and lawyers, people that are societally successful that I know are not happy.
My plan B was to go to law school. That's most people's plan A. But my plan B was to go to law school. I was like, well, this doesn't work out. I guess I'll just go to law school. And I gave myself mentally 1 year. And so I said, well, I'm going to give myself a year. And now 2 months after I graduated, I had a job. It was $11,800, and I want to accentuate that, because I think when it comes to pursuing your purpose, right, and your dream, you have to be willing to take some hits along the way, because God is asking you, well, I have this for you, but how are you willing to commit to it? And it's not always the easy choice. If it was always cushy and fluffy and all of that, you don't ever get sharp. You have to go through some things in order to really refine what your purpose is in life. And so, but I committed to it. I will be honest and say periodically, and I've always done this as a form of self-care, really, is you check in with God and say, all right, God, am I where you want me to be?
Yes.
And if I am, show me that I am, or if I'm not, show me that I'm not. And so even with my, recent change, I was always and still asking God, if it's where I only want to be where you want me to be.
Yeah.
I want to fulfill the purpose that you put here, because when we come into the world, he writes that and it's here. And our mission is to discover what that is by following what your gifts and your talents are. And if you follow that, and you're self-aware, it will align you with where you're supposed to go.
Exactly.
Because, we all have a purpose. And I believe the purpose is always based in serving.
Yep.
And I'm grateful to you because you served this great face today.
Serving.
This wonderful conversation. But, how can I serve?
Yes.
And that's where the impact is created.
Yes.
So for Renegades, Rebels, and Rogues, it's the desire to make maximum impact for people, brands, and culture. And that's what I'm figuring out.
Amazing. And I love the fact that you said servitude, because I think that's where a lot of missing pieces are in entrepreneurship. We have these amazing gifts and these amazing talents, but we leave out servitude and we leave out God. And for a long time I did, because I knew what I wanted. I knew what I was great at, but I wasn't obedient. I feel like I didn't let my higher creator lead me. So it kept me so stuck so long. It's like, well, God, I'm doing all the things that I feel like I'm supposed to be doing. Where is my disconnect? And the disconnect could be that you're not having that conversation with God, or you're not checking back in to see if this is where I'm supposed to be going.
Yeah.
It might be that God has another plan for you and you need to move on, but you're still trying to stay where you're comfortable. So I love that.
You've seen this meme, we all have. It's the one where you've got God and then there's the kid who's got the teddy bear and God. So you've seen it. And even in this recent transition, I always said I was going to get out that aspect of the game. I was going to be in the game, but that aspect, you just want to be like Jordan the first time, go out and you're having all this tremendous success, but you're holding on to that and you're like, okay, if I walk away from this that I have, that I'm seeing this in my hand, am I doing the right thing? And that meme kept coming to me. And I just saw the big giant teddy bear. Yeah. And I was like, you just got to go with wherever God is leading you in the moment. And, listening and being obedient to that and just really being self-aware,
Self-aware, so important.
Hearing God requires a level of personal awareness, to know that you need to check in or you need to lean into that. And oftentimes we get cluttered, especially women. We do it. We are the doers.
Yeah.
We're the doers. We're the make it happen. I love my husband. He's the most amazing person. Yeah. But, he hired a doer. Hired a doer. He married a doer.
Married a doer. Hello.
He married a doer.
Yeah.
Or like I would like to say helpmate. When I was speaking to my husband about, just who I wanted to be for someone, I was like, I want to be the helpmate, right? Because I think that, people need people.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a team. Like Blessed here today, I see your team in the background. You got a team. You got a squad, right? It helps to elevate you so that you can operate in the things that you're amazing at.
You cannot do it alone.
You can't do it alone, right?
Yeah.
So, but, it's asking God, clearing the clutter.
Yeah.
And clearing the clutter was huge for me. And it could be the simple thing. You walk into your office and your desk is all the stuff and you're creatively constipated and you're like, I can't get out of this. And then you organize your space and now you're clear.
Oh my gosh. It's like your workspace is kind of like a reflection of your mind.
Yeah.
It's like, what does it look like?
What does it look like? What does it look like? And then for me, I've always been very career focused because even though my family couldn't always understand the choice, I've always felt the desire and the responsibility to
show them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to change the trajectory of where we've been, and I want to make you proud in that. And I felt a personal passion to do that, wanted to make my parents proud, and change things. My father went to the 6th grade. He had a 6th grade education. He quit school to help feed the family. He grew up very poor. My mom grew up a little bit differently. They, both working parents, but there were some tough things there. But my parents got married at 18. My mom was pregnant. Here I came. Then it's 3 kids and you're, hand to mouth, you're living this really tight life. So I wanted to be able to do something both. So I was very focused on career.
Yeah.
I knew family was important because really what's at the base of that? Like, I'm really trying to do something for the family. But I wasn't focused on having my family because I was very focused on accomplishing the mission.
Yeah.
But I always wanted a family.
Yeah.
And here's the joke. God was like, well, you can't have any on your own. So my makeup wasn't going to allow me to do that. I had have endometriosis. And so I found out very early that it was not going to be possible for me to have kids.
Yeah.
But I always felt the desire to have family.
Yeah.
So in 2019, true story, my mother was dying. She had cancer.
I'm sorry.
And it was sudden and it was unexpected and it was fast.
Yeah.
But in those final weeks, as I'm sitting with my mom in the stillness, and if you've ever been with someone who's preparing to transition, and there's a lot of quiet time.
Yes, my grandmother.
So, there was a lot of stillness and I could hear God. And God said to me, and I could hear it so clear, I have all of the desires of your heart if you'll just clear the clutter. And in those final weeks, that message kept coming to me. And, we know. Yeah. God knows everything. We know. I knew what he was talking about, or at least I thought. I was like, yeah, we've been doing a lot of Terri Thomas living here, career stuff, and doing all the things for others. We're not doing a good job of things for ourselves. My home space needed to be decluttered, little projects that needed to be handled. I'll get to it. Because as women and as career women, we're always rushing to help someone else. But who's taking care of T?
Yeah.
So I made a list. My mom transitioned. I got back home and I got to work. And I'm not ashamed. I needed some help.
Yeah.
I found one of my friends had gotten into organizing. And so I got with Jamie and we negotiated a price. And I said, I just need you to help me.
Oh, man.
Because I know what I'm not great at, And so.
Oh, that's so important.
It very much is. Self-awareness is everything. So she came and, through a series of months, we got decluttered. And then I did some remodeling on the house that I had and created a new space. And then I was like, God, I'm done. You got my boo, because the desire of my heart would be my husband, my family, my relationship.
You prepared for him.
Yes, I was like, I'm good. So here comes the guy, and I'm thinking, but maybe oh no. He was not, and I found that out very fast. But I was like, God, I cleared the my junk drawer was pristine. Do you understand? You could open that thing, and that was so
a new
organized.
Level right there.
All new levels. So. And God said, I said I would have all the desires of your heart if you would clear the clutter. Well, then that came the inside part. And that's the part that we don't want to stop down because we're doers. So we're doing for everyone else and everything else. But what are we doing for us? And you don't realize how much baggage you pick up through your childhood experiences that you haven't reckoned, through grief that you haven't dealt with, through all the things. And so I did some counseling and I did a lot of spending time with T to figure T out. Like the Teresa behind Terri. And then I said, well, if I want to attract a particular type of person, I need to put that energy out there, right? So I really wasn't much on Facebook, but I would take myself on these little COVID adventures and I would post pictures in my Facebook stories, and that's where my husband tapped in. And he started messaging me, and he was someone I had met in for a very brief time, some years prior, but he would be so genuinely with his compliments. And you get them. I'm sure you're a married lady, but ooh, you hot. You get, and you're just like, that's not really gonna do it. So we connected on Facebook June, July of 2020. First date was December 4th of 2020. We got engaged June 8th of 2021 and married July 4th of 2021.
Hello.
So not only did I get a husband, but here's God, and here's how he shows up for you when you listen and pay attention. Not only did I get a husband, I got 4 kids because my husband was a single dad raising 4 daughters. So I got supersized. But just a great example of how clearing your space, listening, asking, and actually doing, and holding yourself accountable to the doing, he's going to show up.
Absolutely. That was a beautiful story. And it's crazy because we have such a similar story that's went through self-awareness. That's why I wrote this book, was my journey through self-awareness. And it starts with clutter. The first chapter is decluttering your closet. And you declutter your home, and that's so huge. Like, I'm still working on my junk drawer. But we're trying to get there. But the fact that you knew step by step, and you just took baby steps. Like, first I need to just clear my mind. Now my mind is clear. Now I need to clear my heart. Let's do some inside work. And then you found your husband. And it's crazy because I found my husband in the midst of my grandmother transitioning.
Oh, wow.
And she was my best friend. And I was like, God, I don't know what you have going on, but it's no way, I can even fathom losing my person. And it's like, I just said what I wanted out loud. Once I said what I want, a month later, I met my husband. We got engaged 4 months later and got married 6 months later. After
You're my kind of lady. Okay.
And it's been 8 years on January 2nd. So it's just like, okay, God, when you surrender, it's a beautiful thing to surrender. And I feel like as alpha women, because I consider you an alpha woman, we like control.
Yeah.
That
part.
At least I do. I love control. I love to know, not necessarily where my life is going, but I want to be the one that dictated. And it felt so vulnerable to give it to God, but it's just like, once I gave it to him, I was like, God, thank you.
My therapist kind of broke down like masculine and feminine energy lives in all of us, right?
Yeah.
And when we're being the alpha, we're living in our masculine energy.
Yeah.
But to have the confidence and the comfort to say, I'm going to be in my feminine energy, it means that you have to be okay with trust.
Yeah, vulnerability.
So early in my life, I figured out, now my parents love me, but we lived very hard, a very challenging existence. And so I determined that I couldn't count on anybody to take care of me. I had to find a way to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And when you grow up with that and it's instilled in you, it's hard to give up, like you said, the control.
Yep.
And giving up the control is saying, I need to let the person come to me or let the situation unfold as it is, as opposed to trying to take charge and make it happen. Every time Terri took charge to make something, like in that aspect, right? With the guy, I was like, oh, here's somebody who's a person. And I was quickly, thank God, realized, no, that's not it. Let's, don't get caught up in nothing.
Yeah.
So, but having the confidence and the comfort, having the confidence in God and the comfort in the situation to say, like, okay, God, this is what faith is.
Yeah.
Faith doesn't mean you don't have fear sometimes.
Yes.
That's very human. But to say, despite the fear, I'm going to have the faith. And I know that you're going to show up for me, whatever it is. Because I remember saying to my friends, like Rob G, where is my person? When am I going to meet my person? And then here came my person.
Oh.
But,
that story.
There are so many moments in my life, and I'm sure for you, where, whether it's work, something involving your career, or personally, where, God has showed up, provided, has given you the answer that you needed.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love that. And you spoke about something earlier that you said, it's a lot of people now that are very confused, and they want to be popular, or they do something that everyone else is doing. And it's a lot of entrepreneurs that does have that comparison syndrome out there. And so you help people show up in their authentic self and create their own thumbprint. And so can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, there's just, you could go to the grocery store, like even now they still have some magazines out there, and you just browse in the covers, and it's all about how you could be the same. Everything is to get you to be the same as. Even, and it's not a criticism, do what you want with your life, but even if you look at something simple like cosmetic surgery, for example, a lot of that is people looking to create an aesthetic that is similar to another aesthetic that they think is more an approved aesthetic.
Yeah.
For example, again, not criticizing people, you got to walk your own journey, but there's a lot in this life of sameness. A record label person might come to my office and pitch a project, and I can't tell you how many times they could say, oh, this is going to be our Cardi B, or this is our Chris Brown, or this is our, instead of, this is some stuff you've never really heard before, and this is going to change the game. And so, you have to figure out where your magic lies. And your magic is not in your sameness, it's in the thing about you that's quirky, different, and unique. And that's what fascinates me about people.
Yeah.
And the journey is, well, what's the unique thing about
Same.
you that you almost don't want to confess that is a thing about you?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee that's probably one of the keys to unlock the path for you. That's the superpower.
Exactly.
Your individuality is your superpower. It's not the sameness. Now, there should be, there's some commonalities.
Of course.
You want to have great service. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people out here that offer great service, but it's your unique spin on what great service looks
Yeah.
like. Like, look at Chick-fil-A. Remember during the pandemic, everybody's like, man, if Chick-fil-A was running this testing or whatever, it'd be a
Yeah.
lot smoother process, because there's a lot of confidence in the method that they developed to service people.
Yep.
And so the thing is with creating uniqueness is, how do you take the best of what somebody has but put your uniqueness in this to make something different? And that becomes the new thing. But a lot of people run from their magic because they're ashamed, embarrassed, they think it's corny, they don't think it's cool.
Yeah.
And it's really who they are. And if you can unlock it, it just is a freedom
Yeah.
that can't be explained. I won't say it's always easy.
Yeah.
Because, ego's a real thing. Everybody has some ego.
Yeah.
And
it's important.
It takes a lot of being able to kind of say to your ego, no, we're going to do this anyway. I know people may not understand or get it yet, but having the faith in yourself and your special magic.
Exactly. Yeah. Taraji, I was watching an interview that she did, and she said, controlled ego is where the magic is. Like, you need ego to be great.
You do.
Like, everyone need it. So don't dismiss any parts of you, but you have to learn how to control it. But I love that you do artist development and coaching, because I watch old interviews with older artists, like from the 90s all the time. And to me, it was all about why I'm different.
Yes.
Why I'm different.
That's right.
But now I feel like with social media, and because it's a trend to kind of do the same. Like, they have like challenges all the time, and TikTok, and everybody's doing the same dances. And so it's kind of like people fall victim to that, because it's like, that's what's going to get you those views and those eyes. It's a popularity thing right now. It's not about uniqueness and talent and everything like that. So I love that you have your personal development, that you work with the artists, because I feel like it's so needed, because a lot of the young people are kind of confused about where they know what they want on their heart, but where do they even stand in that? So I love that you do that.
It's just, the how. And when you see, it can be frustrating, because, it's like, I need to go viral. So they think, that's the way to be successful and what's fast, instead of saying, like, look, what is the foundation, right? So you could have the most beautiful home. It could be just all the things. But if that foundation is shaky, the first hurricane to hit Houston, that thing is going to have a problem.
Yes.
And so it's the foundational stuff. And it's also having, needing to make a mindset shift in a society that is currently, I want it now, I need it now. It's fast. Everything is fast. It's fast food. It's, what can I get now? It's, I need it, and I need it immediately.
Yeah.
It's, I like to tell my daughter, I was like, baby, you got a little bit of, I want what I want when I want it, and I want it now, and it's the impatience, and not the unwillingness to really dig into what the process is to really develop a strong foundation. But it all comes down to the uniqueness.
Yep.
Where's the magic? Where's the different thing? And there's the icons all have some sort of pivotal moment or moments along the way where they tapped into that uniqueness for them despite the naysayers.
Yep.
And that uniqueness is where people really became attached.
Yeah.
And that's where and how they became iconic.
Yes.
And I think that, I get that you're trying to bargain for your life's mission. It's just like, well, I can't wait. I can't afford to wait. I can't this. But, what's for you is for you if you're willing to do the work. And sometimes it's not denied. It's just delayed because you need to lock in with where your magic lies.
Exactly. Can you take us through a little bit, because I believe life is like full circle. I did so many different things in life, and I'm a sad. When is your birthday?
Oh, I'm a Leo.
You
If
Leo?
you hadn't felt that
I
fire,
love
yes.
Leos.
Sag and Leo, good friends.
We get along
we get
real
along
good.
real good.
My son's a Leo. I just love Leos. Y'all are just amazing. So I knew it was something. It had to be a fire sign.
energy. Yes.
Has to be a fire sign. But yeah, I believe that life it don't matter what you do. It could be something so ridiculous like, God, why am I even doing this thing? I am supposed to be a boutique owner, but I'm working behind a desk. Every little thing prepares you for what you're supposed to be doing now. So can you tell me a little bit about your journey through, like, what even made you want to be in radio, starting off as a child, even all the way up until where you are now?
Well, I believe that a lot of the clues are based in your childhood, because when you're a child, there are there's rules, but there's no rules really, right? You're exploring, because that's what being a child is really about. It's about finding your way. So what do you gravitate towards, or what do you connect with? And so my parents were of humble means. And, it was one TV in the house. Dad controlled the remote. You know what it is. So, it wasn't like we were sitting there like this all day. You just stuck on stupid watching television. So what I did have was a library card, free. And what I had was a boombox, radio, free. So I could consume all the music I wanted, and I could read all the books I wanted. So 2 things that happened for me in my childhood. One was in my elementary school, I read every biography and autobiography in the elementary school library. I read them all. And that really planted the seeds, I believe, for my fascination about the story of people. And what makes people unique and different. And I love that. And so I think that got rooted in that experience. And then music is medicine. Music allows you to say the thing you can't say for yourself. It can change your mood. If you're down, you need to feel up. You can get up with music. If you're down and want to feel down and you need the cathartic experience of that, music is there. If any great party is going to have a great DJ. I know so many of them, right? So, if the DJ's whack, the party's terrible. So, music is an art, and music is, it's an emotional connection that people have with music. And you can get really, really deep into the psychology of things and understand about frequencies. And there are certain frequencies of energies that are designed to, align you and calm your chakras and all the things. I mean, that's part of self-care, just being able to get yourself balanced on the inside. And so, I listened to a lot of radio. I was always fascinated with the fact that I could get radio, the fact that I was so attached to music. And then when I could get a little bit of MTV, because we didn't have cable, if I was at someone's house, I was just blown away. Because now the music had pictures, and I could see the record label info, the album. Like, I'm the nerdy kid looking at the liner notes. I was just fascinated by it. And I loved it. And I just felt it was an incredible form of expression. And so in my high school, there was a 10-watt radio station based out of the high school. And that's, didn't have a huge range. But I went into it, and the general manager is kind of an old crotchety guy, and he was like, all right, little girl, if you get your FCC license, I'll give you shift after school. So he hands me this book that's like the phone book.
Oh, wow.
It was so thick, and it was all technical, watts and ohms and all this stuff. But I was determined, like, I could be a part of the thing that I felt was keeping me going, So I made good on it. I took the test. I passed it. I presented my license. He verified it, made sure it was real.
That's awesome.
And then I would bring my dad's records in, like, on a Friday afternoon and play radio.
That is so cool.
And a year later, I got my first commercial job offer, and the guy didn't realize I was 15.
Wow.
So that's when, like, okay, maybe I could do this. And I just knew how radio made me feel and how music made me feel. And if you could change the trajectory of somebody's day, I was like, what a gift, what a blessing that is. And so, I went and pursued that. And so for me, the books and the fascination of people, I think, helped me really tap into a desire to find the magic in someone, and how that's their route to being successful and purpose-filled. And then, music is just it's like a fur coat.
Yeah.
You put it on, it's like, whew.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, music is live music, just any music. I
Yeah.
mean, I love a lot of different music and the way that it can tell stories just
I
the
love
same.
that.
It's another way to tell a story.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so let's do some fun stuff now.
Okay.
Some fun stuff. So if you can choose a superpower, what would it be?
Whew, we're a Marvel family, so
Okay.
a family of superheroes. If I could choose a superpower, what would it be? That is so good. It would be the ability to really read people's minds, so I could really
Lord.
tap into what's really going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly chose that before, but then I'm like, maybe I don't want to know what's going on.
That's a possible, read situations
Yeah.
and get the information.
Yeah. That's a good one,
But
though.
just it's more deeply to understand people.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of people get misunderstood because they don't know how to express themselves. And so to really have a deep understanding of what's going on, I'm a little bit fascinated by that. And then I think just to be like super strong.
Yeah.
I love when, strong women, when you feel strong, you may be strong on the outside, but you also feel strong on the inside.
Yeah,
So,
it's so
strong.
important.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Okay. So, guys, today our topic is what's love got to do with it? Okay. And it is the importance of self love. Now, my journey with self love is rocky, and I feel like even the definition of self love has been commercialized, and it's not really, to me, the real definition. So what can you tell me what your definition of self-love, and what does self-love even look like for you?
I think feeling worthy.
Hello.
So, feeling worthy, my parents, hurt people.
Yeah.
And when you're kids and you're married and you're trying to figure things out and it's financial and, they hadn't figured their stuff out and they had their own. And so
They're surviving.
they're surviving.
Yeah, that's a whole
and
different.
When you're the oldest, the firstborn, you're
too,
the guinea
me
pig,
too,
right? There you go. See, you're kind of like, I don't want to say the guinea pig,
Soul
but
sisters.
so, because my parents were trying to hadn't yet figured that out,
Yeah.
there was a lot of bumps along the way where I didn't feel deserving of love. And I have learned this as an adult, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And then I will tell you, I know without a shadow of a doubt my parents love me.
Yeah.
But people love you to their best ability,
Yeah.
to how they can. And by the time you get to the grandkids, it's different. But, when you're the first one and you got all that is going on to survive, right?
Yeah.
And to take care of yourself, your kids, the things, I didn't feel worthy. So a lot of looking back was me wanting to excel so that I would feel that my parents who were struggling, that I was worth it.
Yeah.
Because, and I remember my dad said this to me, and my dad was I ended up, being an alcoholic. So it was very turbulent. And I remember my dad saying clearly to me, and he meant it in a better way, but the way I internalized it wasn't. It was, you're the reason we're together. So if I'm seeing my parents in a very unhappy state and all this turbulence and all the things, for me, the way I heard that was, oh, this is all my fault. And so now it's that road you put yourself on that says, I have to prove that I'm worthy of you being so unhappy.
Yeah.
And so my grandparents, my grandfather, I was a favorite grandchild. I won't lie about that. My sister would be like, yeah, you were. So my mom's parents, and especially her dad, like I was the apple of his eye. And for the short time that I had him, and I respect the fact that you and your grandmother, you said that was your person. My grandparents were my people.
Yeah.
And so for me, for that short window of time that I had him, I got a glimpse of what love could feel like. And I knew oh man, my grandfather loved me, but I yet and still, it's the feeling worthy.
Yeah.
So the self-love journey for me is deciding that I am worthy. And we here picking up all the bags along the way, and next thing you know, you just overloaded with this baggage. Yeah. And it comes down to you just don't feel worthy.
Yeah.
And so I will tell any child, no matter what the turbulence is with your parents, is that you didn't ask to be here.
Period.
Their baggage is not yours.
Yeah.
And how can you just wrap your arms around a kid and hope that they don't absorb and internalize baggage from their parents? Yeah. So finding or figuring out your self-worth, to me, that's self-care. And so during the pandemic, it was the greatest gift for me. Some people thrived, some people did not. Yeah. For me, I had an opportunity to find myself, like find Teresa. Like Terri Thomas has been popping, but Teresa, because it's me and my dog. We were at the house. I mean, I'm outside in nature, which I love. Yeah. I remember as a kid, I loved to ride my bicycle. Riding a bike was freedom. Yeah. And so I had a little cheap Schwinn, $100 from Walmart, because you couldn't find bikes, remember? But I had one. And so, girl, I was putting miles on that thing. I do 15 miles. And it was just seeing the birds and nature and trees and all the things, and it was really feeding my spirit. And then music, I listened to music. I turned off the TV after my mom passed. I said, I'm not watching television. And once in a while I would watch a movie, but just that TV's on and we're mindlessly watching television, I stopped doing that. I said, that's not the best use of my time, or the energy is not the best thing for me. And so I spent a lot of time with T, figuring me out, reading, therapy, because you could do viral therapy, like online, and figuring out or deciding that I was worthy. Yeah. I was worthy to be loved. I was worthy to be cared for. I was worthy to love me.
I love that.
And so that, to me, self-care for me was about finding self-worth.
That's 100%. I agree for real. Because our stories are so similar, even though we were two different people, two different experiences. But my mom was a teen parent. She had me at 16, and my father was incarcerated, and, they were both young, and it was just also me feeling like I have to prove myself that I am supposed to be here, my existence. That's very hard. So I agree. Just to have a child know that the fact that they have breath, you have purpose. And I didn't have that. I didn't find that until my late 20s. Honestly, after I got married, my husband helped me find that. So I wasn't even healed when I got married to him. He's helped me start that journey. But I agree. It was that. That's why I hustled so hard, because it was like, I'm not going down the path that my parent feel like I should be doing. And she had a lot of slack on her just, going through with having a child so young. And we had a lot to prove. Yeah. And me and my mother grew up together. So it was just like, I want to make you happy. Right. And I want to also help you prove to these people that, you have hurt going on too. And it was just like, I'm worthy because, but there's no because after that. You're worthy because you're worthy. You're God's child. And it took me a while. So I agree.
It takes a long time to get to that place of peace. And sometimes the demons will creep in again. Yes. Like my husband is great for accountability. Yeah. Because he will say, hey, I'm here. I'm your person. You're not by yourself. You're not alone. And so that's really special. And even if it's, a hard thing that we have to push through, just knowing that you got someone, and God, I will say, he has planted, my husband, of course, is what I ultimately got was him, and he's amazing. But also there have been a few, like my best friend and a few people along the way. So even though I didn't have a husband, I knew great men. Yeah. I knew great men, and I knew there are great men out here. I wanted mine, but I knew great men. God put some great men in my circle, so I could at least see an example of, that's what that looks like, And so quality people, quality men of integrity, men that were still chivalrous and all the things too, because we're ladies, and I know we're alpha ladies, but we still like that. So it's the self-worth, and people there are some times that know me are shocked at, because that Terri Thomas, I did a great job of building that.
Yeah.
That person, that was the person I poured into while Teresa was sitting here, just like, you got me, okay, because I'm over here, because I'm not
ready.
I'm not ready. I'm not together. And I think too, experiencing deep pain and not feeling worthy, the heavy awareness, I can feel it on people. Like I can literally, like we say, I feel you, but no, I feel people. I can feel certain things about people. That's why I think that's one of the things I think helps me, because I'm fascinated. Like, well, what's your magic?
Yeah.
Like, what's your magic? I get curious about that, because I know, God wrote it in my head. If you can find your magic, you can find your purpose.
Yeah.
And so I want everybody to have it. I want you to feel the joy. When you're in the zone doing the thing you're absolutely meant to do and having the impact you're absolutely meant to have, there's nothing greater than that.
Nothing.
That feeling of wow, okay, thank you, God, for using me this way.
Yeah.
And so I want everybody to feel that. And I want everybody to have the opportunity to be their best self and to serve in the best way possible and feel the joy of seeing someone achieve their next level of whatever it's supposed to be. I mean, there's nothing more fulfilling.
I love that. Well, you're changing lives just by showing up every day on social media. So
thank you.
I'm so grateful to have you here and for you to be able to touch even more lives out there with your words of wisdom. But let's talk about beauty now. Beauty is my passion, my purpose. So what's your relationship like with beauty?
Well,
I can see that personal branding is, you understand it fully.
I do.
So.
People buy into people before they buy into products.
Absolutely.
So for me, when it comes to makeup, I'm the kid at the 2-year-old at the restaurant with the crayons trying to color inside the line. Yeah. That was never my talent. I view people that are makeup artists, it's makeup artist for a reason. I believe there is an art where you're taking the canvas of a person, and if you have the ability to bring out the very best of that person so that they feel beautiful inside and all of the things, I think it's wonderful. Yeah. So for me, I would say that I learned skincare is extremely important, and I felt like that was something I could sort of control in the most natural way possible. Coconut oil is my
antibacterial,
all the things,
all the things.
But sunscreen and taking care of your skin. Important. My mom, she grew up in an era where it was about you put the baby oil on and you bake in the sun. It's terrible for you. So both of my parents had a small bout with some skin cancer, but I would tell my mom, I'm like, Mom, you need to, I'm the chick at the pool with the umbrella,
right?
I'm not trying to catch, I love being in the sun. I do, because I feel like the warmth of the sun and you get that good vitamin D, but I'm not the lay out and bake variety.
You understand the
No,
caution
I'm
that comes
sunscreen,
with
let's cover up and all the things. But so for me, it's, can I take care of my skin, have good skin, and then a lip, a lash, and a brow. If I can, by the grace of God, pull that together for myself, and then I could sort of be okay.
That's all you need.
I rely on the experts for the extra zhuzh, on the stage, and you get the white lights and you look so washed out. I'm like, no, I need a person. And you just hope that God gives you the person that's going to be a yay instead of a ooh.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because it can really make or break your mood. It's like.
When you're outside, I mean, I'm a Leo. My hair's not looking right. Leo lion. The mane's got to look like something, and then, my style, which I understand is a little left of center but it's perfect for me.
It's you,
and
for
so
sure.
I think there's a new level of fashion for every phase of your life. It's the next evolution, but the core is always there.
Yeah.
And for me, I like to be fun, quirky, and unique. So there'll be something that'll be a little bit different. And so I'm comfortable with that.
Yes. What is your nationality, by the way?
Mostly Italian.
Okay.
Yeah.
That.
So mostly Italian, and then there's some French in the air, and I think there's some Scottish in there somewhere, but I would say mostly Italian.
Yeah.
My dad would say some American Indian, but
Okay.
I was never, his side of the family was much more difficult to track.
Yeah, maybe
So,
3%.
something. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, we're all in America.
all
It would make
mixed up.
sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I resonate with the Italian for
Yeah.
sure. My grandfather was 100%. And so that, Italian attitude. When I was a little girl, my dad loved Rocky, Sylvester Stallone Rocky movies.
Oh, okay.
Girl, that is the holy grail to me.
Yeah.
That's what gave me my get up. No matter how many times you get
Ah.
kicked back, watching those movies and embodying and feeling the spirit of that,
Yeah.
no matter how hard you get hit and how many
Yeah.
times you get knocked
That's
down,
it.
you got to find a way to get back up. And so I really embrace the Rocky type mentality.
Yeah.
Italian, it's,
Yeah,
Rocky.
I see it.
My dad's a Stallone fan, all the things.
Yeah.
And my dad had dark hair and so I was like, okay, yeah, get back in there. So yeah, Italian, I resonate with that a lot, and I know there's some French in there for sure. That I do know. Yeah.
Okay. So if you can, I want to take you on a fast forward to future Terri right quick. So we talked about past Terri, present Terri, now future Terri. If you could see who you are in 10 years, what would that person look like? What would she have going on? What would her lifestyle be? What would she be driving? What kind of house? Where would you be living? I mean, just no limits. Tell us.
Fabulous for one. So I would be fabulous.
Yes.
I aspire to be, like you see the ladies, and you're like, she got it going on, like, just timeless, but fun and quirky and joy filled.
Yeah.
And I would be driving, like,
what are we driving?
Honestly, like a Jeep Wrangler with the roof off.
I love that. I love Jeeps.
Yeah, or a pickup truck. I love that. I was more like a pickup truck.
Yeah,
we're in Texas. My husband and I talk. I was like, I would love some land, where we could have kind of our ranch, and there's some water and, just to be able to be somewhere with some land and the green space. And, for the house, I love tall ceilings, lots of natural light, like hardwood floors, that kind of vibe. But, not overly cluttered, tastefully decorated, but a little bit of, but definitely personality, something that could be a conversation piece, as you look around, like, well, where's that from? Or what's that? So
I can see it.
So that, joy filled, and in a position to really just no worries for my kids, for my husband, for our family. Bless. We always say when we do our night night prayers, we say, God, we do night prayers. It's like, I want to be blessed to be able, please bless me so I can be a blessing.
Yeah. So
I would love for us to be, very blessed so that we could be a blessing.
Yeah, that's the goal for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. So what is RRR looking like? What is that? Where are we with RRR?
Well, it's developing, the aesthetics of the brand, the heart and soul. I understand what that needs to be, but it's, okay, the website, the logo, like the things of that.
Yeah. But where are we at future? This is future.
Oh, in the future.
Yeah, this is future. Where are we with that? Are we just delegating or what are we doing?
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to say yes on the delegating or some of it because I read a book over the holidays called 10X is Better Than 2X. And I would recommend that tremendously. And
10X is better than 2X.
So basically, it kind of operates into what we're talking about is that you have your special talents and gifts, but because we're trying to get things done, we end up putting a lot of things on our plate that aren't allowing us to operate in the thing that makes you great.
Yeah.
And so it's really a philosophy for entrepreneurs where you're being very decisive about who, not how, can get this done for you so that you can operate in your gifts and you can grow. It's like rocket fuel for your business.
For sure.
And so for me, I was so inspired. I sent it out to a bunch of my friends. I'm like, y'all need to read this. This is a game changer. And so for 10 years for Renegades, Rebels, and Rogues, you want to be the person who has just the creative direction of what that is. And you've built an incredible team that can execute a lot of the day-to-day. And it's just the overall creative strategy, because the most precious gift you can give yourself is time.
Absolutely.
So time. Yeah, I want to
love
build something amazing, and I want to, again, maximum impact for people, brands, and culture.
I love that. Well, future Terri, that's so good. I'm so proud of
Well,
you.
thank you.
I love that for you. And I pray for you. And I know you can touch that easily, easily. So I'm excited to watch your journey, to see everything unfold for you. I'm here to support you. Even though you didn't know me, I've been there all along. So,
Girl, you just have blessed me. Just, I would say your consistency, you just consistently like, hey, I'm here, you reach out. You're just consistency of showing up.
Thanks.
And I think people sometimes take that for granted, but I deeply appreciate that.
Yeah,
Like it was a deep honor to even be asked to be here today. Like I don't take those opportunities for granted. And you could talk to anybody you want to, but to decide to talk to me and to be interested enough for me to share my story with you, like I consider that a great blessing. So
I appreciate that.
I'm grateful for you. And it's the consistency in which you care for people that's going to take you everywhere you need to go.
Look, I received that. Thank you so much, Terri. If you want to reach out to Terri, if this resonated with you, if you're an artist that needs help, how can we find you, Terri?
Artist, brand, influencer. You can find me on the gram at Terri Thomas. I'm going to spell that. It's TerriThomas. Find me there. I do answer the DM, as long as you're not coming at me crazy. And yeah, if I can be of service, and let's see what we can do.
All right. Well, hit her up, y'all. And until next time on She Said What? I'll catch you next time.